What's something that seems fun, but is actually terrible? Living in a little village on a mountain. Everything is super expensive, and everyone's an alcoholic. Every village in Alaska is the same. Alcoholism, meth, incest, domestic abuse, rape, even dry villages. New Year's Eve in Times Square. You're better off watching it on TV instead. Even on TV it is pretty bad. A job that involves traveling pretty much all the time. People will be like, oh, you get to travel and visit all these new places. Yes, that and not having a stable home, hotel living, not being able to even buy a 3-pack of something or do groceries since you'll be traveling again next week. It gets exhausting. Plus you work basically the whole time so you don't get to experience the locale. Ain't that the truth? Traveling for work sounds jet set, but all it really means for us is we get to see the inside of a lot of Premier Inns and beefeater pubs. La Tomatina. Massive tomato fight in a small village in Spain. 20,000 participants in a narrow street. Drunk. Full bladders packed in like sardines. National Guard is there to monitor. Then they force the trucks through to drop tomatoes on you to throw at others. You will get stepped on. You will get peed on, pee on someone. You will have tomato in every crevice. You will have to throw out everything you wore that day. You'd really love that town in Taiwan where people shoot fireworks at each other all day one day of the year. We have that in Spain as well, La Mascleta. What is it with Spain and events that amount to let's get hurt on purpose? You can't spell Spain without pain. Food fights. It's better if you take the food out of the cans first. Not if you want to win. Being a video game QA tester. I've had a handful of people aspiring to be video game testers, thinking that testing games as in playing them, and I mean games only, all the time is a quick and easy way to make your hobby your job while making money in the process. The reality is much different and not nearly as fun as one may think. You will be playing the same boring part in a game over and over and over again. Let alone the game might not be even that good to begin with. Soon enough you'll be completely burnt out, sick of playing games. You can do the same thing in software with more perks and make a better living. Being in bed all day, may be fun once in a while, not fun when it's everyday chronic illness. Ducking this. I hate being unable to function to the full extent I'd like to. When I was a kid, my dad worked at the local deli in town to make some cash on the side and I thought it was the coolest job ever. I loved walking in and seeing him work, and even though it was making sandwiches and prepping catering orders, I always like when I'm old enough to get a job that's what I'm gonna do. Well, I turned 14 and the bosses offer me a job almost as soon as my birthday came around. I used to think working in a restaurant was the coolest thing in the world, until I worked in food service and it actually is the worst thing ever. Nothing better than working long hours for minimum and being screamed at by rude and angry customers. I think what made it seem cool was just that my dad is a generally calm and happy guy, so he made working a pretty difficult job seem fun because he had such a calm demeanor about it. For that I give him a ton of respect. Edit. Wow, didn't expect this to get this much notice. To clarify some things, I didn't hate my job, it was a lot of hard work for minimal pay, but the bosses always treated me well. But I don't have the patience to handle it for as many years as he did. He was able to deal with a lot of stuff with a smile on his face that would normally cause a lot of people, like myself, to absolutely lose their shit. It was a great job, but it wasn't the perfect job that I imagined it as when I was little. Becoming an adult does not apply if you have money. Having sex in a bath or jacuzzi. Also beach sex. It's just sand everywhere. It's rough and irritating, too. Renting a paddle boat. You see them sitting there and think it would be nice to get out on the water, but you quickly realize that it's a very inefficient way to power a boat and you just return to the dock 20 minutes after you set off. I used to work at a place that would rent paddle boats. We would make you sign a contract that no matter how long you actually used it you still to pay a 1-hour minimum, cause we know how much it sucks. Being tickled. Ugh, That doesn't even seem fun. My 15-month-old son likes it though. Yeah, but your son can't even add, so why should we trust his opinion? Strip clubs. You want a room full of sad blokes buying overpriced drinks looking at women pretend to enjoy taking their clothes off? Strip clubs. Honestly just incredibly depressing. Surprise parties. I told my mom when I was 14 that I never wanted a surprise birthday party. When I turned 17, I guess she thought I wasn't serious. She invited the most random assortment of people ever and it was awful. Also, surprises in general kind of suck. I enjoy the anticipation leading up to a fun event. Waterboarding. I mean, waterboarding in Guantanamo Bay sounds awesome if you don't know what either of those things are. Having lived in a coastal state all my life, it never fails to baffle me how people flock to the beach on a 100-degree scorcher of a day, burning hot sand, swarms of people with little to no regard for personal space, sweat dripping everywhere. Not my idea of summertime fun, but to each his own. On a side note, whenever I tell someone my ideal time to go to the beach is in September, October, they look at me like I'm a three-headed dragon. Yes, during this heat wave we're having, I can't count the amount of people who have said great day for the beach or the amount of people who actually went. No. The last place I want to be on a day with 114-degree heat index is on a hot, shadeless beach of scorching sand and sun. Going to the fair. Pay to park. Pay to get in. Pay for rides. Pay for special events. Pay for overpriced food. I literally just paid $97 for my family of 5 to eat dinner and wander around. $97 for 5 people is kind of a bargain. Eating meals outside. My family just now decided that the birthday celebration is going to be eaten in the backyard. We have a serious ant infestation back there and we all can't stand them. I don't know why they are doing this. Having huge breasts. Back pains, stairs, clothes are harder to find, bras are hard to find in your size, and regular shirts on you make you look like risque. Edit. I made this comment to talk about the problem that women face with larger breasts, whether it be social wise or physical wise. This is not an open invitation for people to sexually harass me in my private messages or in the replies. You know how girls are always buying bras for $10 to $20? If you have above a D cup you can forget it. If you are a DD you might get lucky, but any cup size higher like a 36G and you are paying at least $50 and that would be the price for an iron bra. If you want something pretty you will pay through the nose. Fame. Can you imagine not being able to just walk around anymore? Or not being able to trust people in a normal way? I'd hate that. My biggest fear is becoming famous. Rich I would welcome wholeheartedly, but fame seems depressing and lonely. One of my favorite quotes is, you know what's better than being rich and famous? Just being rich. Driving to the beach if it's a long drive. Driving 3 hours one way to get sand encrusted and soggy just to drive another 3 hours back is not exactly going to leave anyone in a good mood. Shopping for myself. I get all pumped up. Then I get there, or to the website, and about 10 minutes in I'm done. I envy kind of those other women who can go store to store picking out crap and try them on, making a purchase, but it's just exhausting to me. I rarely buy clothes for myself, but it's not because I don't care about my appearance, I just genuinely hate shopping. My mom and sisters are like shopping pros, loads of shoes, clothes, and I'm still wearing flip-flops I bought from Walmart 3 years ago for $8. I'm trying to get myself to buy a couple of things a year for myself to maybe get into it. Oh, even my mom and sister has offered to buy me something online and I decline because I don't want to look at Kohl's to peruse their clearance crap. No thank you. I take care of my clothes and shoes. It's not like I'm walking around looking like a ragamuffin. And I like t-shirts, jeans kind of look, so I look lazy, not crazy, even if I'm crazy. Sex with me. My mom begs to differ. Things used to be so different when I was growing up. Meeting up with people from work on the weekends. Not when your boss owns a giant fishing boat. I'm gonna get hate for this, but going to Mardi Gras in New Orleans, the idea of it is terrific, and it's certainly an adventure, but I went when I was 19, and it was incredibly chaotic and overwhelming. I had college friends who continued to go every year, but once was definitely enough for me. Edit. I'm getting some flack for the fact that I was only 19 when I went. Please trust me that this did not matter in New Orleans back in 2000. I looked about 15, and I still got served everywhere I went, without getting carded. Me not having fun had nothing to do with whether or not I was sober. Having a one-night stand. Do know if it's just me. I feel dirty afterwards and sort of hollow, like I got nothing from it after the deed with my post-nut clarity. Don't worry, you are not alone. Waking up beside someone you don't love isn't really fun. I love the cuddly mornings with bad breath kisses. I just can't do that with a one-night stand. Attending an NFL game. Crazy expensive tickets and food. Even crazier expensive beer. Crazy traffic to from the game. You spend a shoot ton of time watching players just stand around during the overwhelming amount of TV timeouts. You're really far away from the field. High likelihood of being seated near one or more violent drunkards. When you need to take a leak, you either need to miss part of the game or go at halftime and wait on a long line. Wait for hours to leave the parking lot after the game. The weather is probably shoot. The NFL's dirty little secret is that the game day experience is total shoot compared to grilling up some food at your house, cracking open a bunch of good beer, and watching with your friends on your big screen TV. Being a stay-at-home fan with friends and shared food drink is better in every way. Going to parties. I have no friends and feel lonely a lot, but if I ever go to a party or anything, it's ducking agony. Clubbing. Nuff said. I became a bouncer at the age of 18 and lived in the Mexican-United States border, so I had been clubbing and drinking for a while already. By the time I was 21, I was so over the whole club bar scene I have never been back once I quit. Joining the military. It never sounded fun to me and I still did it, lol. But the real fun comes when you're a veteran. Free school, paid housing, and life is just amazing compared to what it used to be in the military, haha. Life. I feel you. Driving around in LA, not like the movies, seeing stars, iconic views. It's filled with trash, homeless people, and gridlock. Watching Cats on Broadway. I saw it as a teen in the 80s but couldn't remember much about it except the cat actors creeping by us in the dark. A few years ago, my daughter wanted to take me to see a Broadway show for Mother's Day. I chose Cats. As we were watching the show, all the memories came back to me. I hated it in the 80s and it was still just as bad. My daughter has yet to forgive me.